Unbound, for me personally, is an announcement that we are starting the third chapter of Bluebeam, and we are ready to lead the industry again in innovation and especially in artificial intelligence. That's one that I'm quite excited about. But the most important thing for me, as we talked briefly about, that I have been out in the community talking to the users and fans, one thing I was so touched by that the users in the community have really been the backbone of Bluebeam and the industry itself.
On this week's show, from XCon to Unbound, the movement begins with Usman Shuja, CEO of Bluebeam. All right, we are back. Sitting down again, not so long since the last time we got to sit down on the show. Usman, welcome.
Great to be with you again, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me. Now we got to get that elephant out of the room real quick. I'm wearing the logo. Thanks to the team here, I made the jump over to Bluebeam recently, and so I'm really excited that these kind of two things are colliding at the same time.
Oh, welcome to the Bluebeam family.
I'm excited. We'll get into this at some point later on down the road on the show, but I kind of started my career of innovation in construction with Bluebeam. So to me, it's like this full circle moment. But what I'm really excited about is the return of a user conference. And, I knew it as XCon. So talk a little bit about, what we're up to here and what you're excited about with this change.
Yeah. So XCon was such a big hit, especially with our community and our users. But COVID kind of broke that momentum. We brought it back after COVID, but it was just not there. And we took a little bit of a break. And then I joined almost 18 months, 2 years ago. And over the last 2 years, we have spent completing the subscription transition and then putting Bluebeam back to innovation. And we want to unveil and share with our community the elevated vision of Bluebeam and what's on the roadmap, some exciting innovations, and really want to re-engage with the community. So think of Unbound as XCon++, with all the great things we had with XCon and a bit more about the future of Bluebeam and our perspective on the future of the industry itself.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about it. There's this thing we don't talk about in innovation and change where like sometimes you got to buckle down and do the things that are hard in order to be able to do the things that are fun and exciting. And I think that's the part that we don't talk about enough is that process, right? It's a process. And, when we sat down 18 months ago, when we sat down last time, it was about 18 months into your journey. And you were doing a lot of reflection, a lot of learning, a lot of getting out there. And you're still getting out there and doing that learning. But these last 6 months have been putting things into action. So what does that action look like? And how does it line up to Unbound and the conference itself?
Look, last time when I spoke to you, I was relatively new in the role, trying to understand the industry, trying to meet the customers. I have met a lot more customers since then, and I'm starting to get a good sense of what makes Bluebeam and this industry such an exciting place. Initially, I started talking to some of the decision makers and large customers, but then I also started to speak to a lot of our users, individuals or smaller companies. And I found one thing, that Bluebeam happens to have a lot of fans and some people who are very passionate about the product, the way we are solving the problems, and the importance of community and the users really became a reality and something that I really absorbed in the last 6 months or so. Bluebeam's success was centered on being a user-centric innovation mindset and philosophy. And that's something that I walked away with, getting a strong sense of loyalty from our users that have made this product and this community such a big success. And what we are taking that DNA of our innovation and success into the future. One thing that Bluebeam has done really well over the last 20 years or so is catching the right technical wave in collaboration with our community and the users. And that's what we have tried to revive. And the next wave we believe is coming from generative AI. And we are catching that one in collaboration with our community. And that's something that I'm very excited to unveil at Unbound and share with our community and users and the industry what we are going to do with Bluebeam and for the industry and how we're going to create value. So there's some exciting stuff to share at Unbound in September, October.
Yeah, I mean, it's really exciting because you talked about it. Bluebeam, I think in the early stages, it accidentally caught a wave. It was the right time for the right thing. Some of that, there has to be some luck, right? There has to be a lot of hard work and a lot of good ideas, but you got to get a little bit of luck and ride the wave. But riding the waves after have to be intentional, have to be thought through, the changes, the things that are coming. And I mean, talk about a crazy time for you to come in, and all of us that come into this is, AI and how it's blowing up, but the ability to connect that to the next wave of innovation and change and development with our, I love the fanatics of Bluebeam. Since I came on board and announced, I got, oh wait, I was at a cookout and somebody overheard me say I work for Bluebeam and came up and said, did you say you work at Bluebeam? And I was like, yeah. It's like, I love it. I run this construction company and we use it everywhere. So we do have those fanatics, but those fanatics give us a responsibility, and that responsibility to ride into the next wave. And, that was exciting for me to come and, focus on what that's going to look like. What are some of the, things you can tease that might be getting unveiled, and why some folks, if they're looking for, I wouldn't call them answers, right? We're not here to answer. We're here to inform. What would they be thinking about coming and learning at Unbound and participating in?
Jeff, you talked about the timing and the luck element, and it's quite interesting time for the industry itself as well. I think we are going through a season change or a market transition, a very early innings of that with the wave of digitization that happened in AEC over the last decade or so. I feel, and many of the customers that I'm speaking to are very convinced that generative AI is going to make an impact in the industry. And with that conviction, with early innings, and Bluebeam is in a very unique position that a lot of the work today happens in Bluebeam. And drawings and all the workflows that Bluebeam empowers our users to do, that puts us in a very unique position to accelerate the adoption of generative AI. And I think where the industry is, where Bluebeam is, it makes it a really good situation for us to capitalize and advance the industry to the next phase to really capture this market transition, or the next season, as some authors call it. So I'm really excited to share that. But at the same time, we are staying true to the fundamentals of our DNA, which is meeting the customers where they are and working with the users in the community and taking a user-centric approach to innovation to solve actual problems in the industry. By taking that approach and using the most advanced technologies to solve those day-to-day problems and look at the industry differently is what we are on a journey and embarking, what I call the third chapter of Bluebeam. And that's what we are doing to usher the next phase of AEC technology. So to give you an example, we are going to unveil our capabilities to how agentic workflows can automate some of the mundane things we are doing today. We spend a lot of time doing QA and QCs in drawing. There are a lot of time spent on checking if this window and that door and this is this drawing, and comparing it to the second drawing. All of that can be automated now in a good way, so you can focus on things that matter on the job site and the construction site. So that's just one example. Then we have already released a few features that a lot of our customers are already using, but we are working and we'll unveil some significant features that will make the lives of our of our users really easy and enhance the productivity and let them focus on things that really matter on the job site.
It's a critical path that every product is useful and valuable in what it does, and then grows in a valuable and concise way. You said it, like there's a lot of mundane tasks. We're not trying to, remove decisions. We're not trying to remove things from people's hands. We're trying to enhance their time to focus on what's important. Early document reviews and early design reviews are really important, but they get flooded with little things that just, they kill us, and they keep us from looking at the quality things, and it's caused a lot of problems. So it makes a lot of sense that currently, we have what we have, and it's really usable. Yep. And we can use some of that knowledge to help automate things that should be automated, make people's lives a little easier out there. And I'm really excited. And I know we can't talk too much more about the things that we're going to release to get people excited, but I think what we can lean in on is you can trust that that's been in our DNA, right? You mentioned DNA earlier. We're in our 3rd chapter, but in no way did we rewrite our DNA along the way. We are here for the people that in the AEC that get their jobs done to build the incredible infrastructure around us, whether it's, civil or we're talking about water, wastewater. We're talking about, high-rise buildings, data centers, all of it. We're here to support them and to try to help do what I think AI is great at. And that's helping us get through the noise and to the value of the products themselves and the buildings and the projects.
Completely agree.
So we also have some really, okay, the learning's still there. Hey guys, just so you know, like the learning part did not go away. There is just as many cool, fun, like informational sessions as there are going to be those learning sessions. I was reading through it, and, we haven't gotten away from that. But we do have some, we got to have a little star power. We got to have a little pizzazz. So talk a little bit about the people I'm really excited to see at the event itself.
Look, as you mentioned, I think for XCon, the tricks and trips, the new features of Bluebeam, just mingling with the community, those were the things that made XCon really successful. And Unbound is going to have all of that. And we are going to have a few more things. I encourage everyone to go to unbound.bluebeam.com to check out the agendas and what other things we have in place. We have some school parties as well. But as you mentioned, there's some really good speakers that we are bringing to Unbound. So the first one is Duncan Wardle. He's the former head of innovation for Disney. And Disney, as we all know a thing or two about innovation. So he's going to talk about not just how we should think about innovation, but how to be creative and solve problems. And he will run more of a working session with everyone. And I have seen him speak before. He's amazing and just gets everybody energized, puts them in the right frame of mind to think about innovation at the start of the conference.
Yeah, just I want to connect that real quick because the audience will kind of know this a little bit. Is Duncan's like a huge hero to me, very inspiring, and it kind of goes back to this origin story of where we're at right now and what happened with XCon and coming out and doing this new Unbound. During COVID, we were all looking for things to think through and to go back over, and I stumbled on Duncan and his work and all the things he put out online. And the simple fact that changing your mindset on a given day before you go into learning, before you go into the other things that are going to happen on a day at an event like this, how powerful that mindset shift for the day is to what you can learn and what you're open to. So I'm really excited. I did get to see him once in person, but I'm really excited to see him again. And I think everybody coming, this is the idea. Set them up in the mindset because we've got to shift and that shift's important.
Completely agree. Once you are in that right mindset, you open your brain for different ideas. For the rest 2 days, 3 days, you're going to meet a lot of the community, people who are doing similar things, people who are doing slightly different things. You're listening to thought leaders and new innovation and startups. And all of this becomes a lot easier to absorb once you are in that mindset. So very excited about Duncan. Then obviously we have some customers who are going to talk about their innovation. We have the CEO of Goldbeck. Goldbeck is the largest family-owned construction company in Germany, and they are not only one of the largest construction company, but also the most forward-looking construction company in Germany. And they deploy software and technology very effectively. And I'm really looking forward to listening to him. And then we have CBRE's COO, Vikram. CBRE, as all of you know, is the leader in commercial real estate. And they are also really cutting edge when it comes to using digitization and AI to apply to real estate management. But they also own Turner and Townsend, which is a construction company, a large Bluebeam customer. But one thing that I'm very excited about, CBRE looks at the macroeconomic data that influences our industry significantly. And Vikram will talk about how they're seeing the industry, the macro events. There's a lot going on in the world with interest rates and tariffs and wars and, a lot of things that are out of our control, but the economy revolves around those, and we need to better understand that. And we'll close the day with Steve Wozniak. And as all of you know, Steve is a pioneer of the tech industry in the Silicon Valley. I've never seen him present in person before, but I'm really big fan of the products of Apple, but also what he has achieved. I think he'll close out with some really interesting remarks on how to think about innovation and how to bring all of this together. So quite excited about the lineup. We have, these are the main stage speakers. And one other person that I'm quite excited to share is Professor Nemetschek. Not a lot of people know that Bluebeam is fully owned subsidiary of Nemetschek, which is a Frankfurt-listed stock exchange company. And Professor Nemetschek is the founder. He is now 91 years of age, and he is flying in to share his story of why and how he acquired Bluebeam. He's been the pioneer of AEC digitization industry, and I've heard him talk about AI and how his vision for the industry. I think the attendees are going to really enjoy listening to him, especially his story about why he acquired Bluebeam. And I think it's going to be a great and fun event and very informative. And the speaker lineup is pretty special as well.
Yeah, it's just speaks to the design of the conference and what we want it to be for this industry as we lean into this third chapter. Is, we've got to change our mindset as an industry, and we're going to start that off with Duncan and really help ourselves do that. It's really great to see the construction company and CBRE come, because they're going to share not only really high level things that we need to understand, right? As an industry, things shift constantly, and being close to the people that are paying attention to it helps distill that to everybody, which is kind of like the product, right? You're going to be listening to people who are at the highest level, and you can be a small 5-10 person shop and still learn and connect with what they have to say and do while they're there. And then if we're going to continue this process, we've got to look at, this is what's interesting about Woz, is a lot of the philosophies I've gotten to heard of. So we get to switch on this. I've never heard Professor Nemetschek, so I'm really excited for that. I have heard the Woz, and what I love is a lot of what was true when Apple started is true today. Innovation at its core still has some true tenets that he's going to talk about and really connect to. And this industry is one that really craves history and craves connection. And that's where I'm excited for Professor Nemetschek, because he's going to connect not just his acquisition of Bluebeam, but as you look into his history, how much he's truly given to digitizing and the digitalization of the built world. And at 91, going to come over and share with us. That's awesome. I mean, that's really showing the dedication and connecting to the history. Because I think, as we come into this third chapter, we are going to lean into the fact that we are part of Nemetschek, and there is so many things we can bring, including, you kind of teased it there, so I want to bring you all the way back to it, but there might be a few startups there. There might be a few other things going on the tech side that people get exposed to while they're there.
Absolutely. So we have a track for startups. Some of the younger startups will be pitching to, and they will have the opportunity to win either investment or advisory capabilities from us. We will have some of the larger funds also be there, but there will be some bigger startups who we are either partnering with, or we have invested in, or we are looking to partner in the future. We'll be talking about it. Some of the big names of like Document Crunch and many others will be there, and this will give you a chance to peek into what's happening in the startup world as well, and learn from where the disruption is coming from, where the exciting technologies are coming in, and we'll get to see all of it in one place.
Yeah, and we have one more in there that I want to make sure people know too is Bluebeam acquired GoCanvas. And so this isn't, it's the Bluebeam and it's Unbound, but we're a family. We've got another, pieces and parts. And so for the GoCanvas folks, what's the opportunity there for them to join in this movement? For those that maybe aren't familiar, we got a lot of crossover for sure. So, we're growing. This is part of the fun transformation.
So one of the rationale for acquiring GoCanvas was we wanted Bluebeam and Bluebeam users to have tools in the field. Bluebeam is used extensively in the field, and we wanted to give our users more capabilities in the field. And that's what we wanted to achieve with GoCanvas. And one of the things I wanted to just leave a teaser, we are going to announce the integration between GoCanvas and Bluebeam, a thing that really empowers Bluebeam users in the field, give them capabilities. And that's the first native integration that Bluebeam has done. So GoCanvas product features will be available to the Bluebeam users as if it is a Bluebeam feature that really empowers the field workers. So I'm not going to share a lot, so you got to stay tuned and learn more. But that's one of the things that we're going to unveil at Unbound. So stay tuned.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the positive acquisition of, thinking through why you want to get them, but then also, strategically incorporating them into the products over time. And it's just really cool that we're going to get a chance to see some of that, come to light as we get closer and get into the event itself. So you guys are going to have to, come join us. It's unbound.bluebeam.com to sign up. And, by the way, use code Unbound, the crew. It's good for you out there. We'll give you guys, for listening in to this, a little bit of a discount because we want to make this really about that relighting of the fire of the fanatics that we have in the industry, but then connect it to that wider vision. I think it's really important to understand that, Bluebeam's growing, and so's the industry, and the industry's going through new changes, and so are we. So we're here to partner. And I think that's a key component of this event itself and sort of us as an organization to lean into that. What are some of the other reasons? Like everybody out there, I know when I was at the construction company, I was always trying to figure out how to get myself there. What's the things I should say? So what are some of the tips for, if you're, a Bluebeam user out there and you're grinding every day on it and you want to get out there and learn, all the way up to, hey, if you're running a company and there's some things you need to know, what are the reasons they should be joining us at the event?
Great question, right? I think if you're a Bluebeam user and you use this extensively, I think for them, the value is learning the new features, how to use it more effectively, what's exciting coming up, understanding how we can make your job even more effective. If you're a Bluebeam user but don't use effectively, I think this will be a great opportunity to learn more. Bluebeam's depth and breadth is so extensive, and if you're not using it to the full extent, this is an opportunity to learn not just from the Bluebeam team, but also from the community and other users, how they can maximize the value of using Bluebeam. If you're not a Bluebeam user at all, I think you would find significant value in understanding what's the technology ecosystem, This conference, one difference is this is for everybody. This is an industry conference. Yes, it's a Bluebeam and Nemetschek conference, but it's for everyone. Even if you're not a Bluebeam user, I think you'll walk away with learning about where the industry and technology is taking us, and what role and you can play in advancing the industry. If you are a business owner or a decision maker or running an IT organization, I think you'll walk away with a lot of valuable information about not only the industry, about the issues in technology, about how to think about technology decisions, and some of the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead, and open the aperture on what the art of the possible is. So, and there's going to be a lot of fun, good parties, and ability to meet and exchange ideas. So, regardless of where you fall in that spectrum, I think you'll find significant value. And we have a guide coming out soon to convince your boss on why you should attend that. And I think stay tuned for that. But this will be our intent is to deliver a lot of value to all of you, and so you can go back to your work more effective and more productive.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited for that series to come out too. So if you guys are listening and you want it, just connect with us. We'll make sure it gets out there to everybody, because you've got to have an explanation to the team as to why you want to do it. But ultimately, you hit on some of the best things I learned at conferences back then. The sessions are awesome, the parties are fun, but those side conversations about a problem that you've had and somebody going, "Oh, I had that same problem and here's how we fixed it." The artful use of the software itself, and then creating new relationships. I mean, we don't get a lot of time in this industry. We're so busy being busy that this is a moment in time to take a breath. We're a relationship-based business. And this is the only conference where we are solely focused on our space and what we do. And it's that whole building life cycle. There will be, if you're a mechanical, there will be electricals and plumbers there. There will be general contractors there. There'll be owners there, architects there. All those people that when I'm at other shows, oh, I wish this person was in the room. I wish that person was in the room. That's the uniqueness, is they are in the room and you have a common bond because you're using the product or you're interested in learning about how the industry is changing from that specific perspective. So it's really cool to see the perspectives come into the room. Really great to see all the energy. I'm interested, you've said some of the highlight ones. What are you excited about personally for Unbound to see and to experience?
Unbound, for me personally, is an announcement that we are starting the third chapter of Bluebeam, and we are ready to lead the industry again in innovation, and especially in artificial intelligence. So that's one that I'm quite excited about. But the most important thing for me, as we talked briefly about, that I have been out in the community talking to the users and fans, one thing I was so touched by, that the users in the community have really been the backbone of Bluebeam and the industry itself. People who work hard on the job site, in the trailers, in the offices, and the construction sites, they really are the ones, are the heroes of the industry and the reason for the success of Bluebeam. And Unbound, to me, is a celebration of those users, those hardworking people and fans. And it's our way to say thank you to them and to share more innovation and more capabilities and more value for them. So I'm looking forward to meeting so many of the users and fans in person. And that to me is quite important and something that I'm really, really looking forward to. So I'm thinking of this as a celebration of the community and the celebration of the Bluebeam user and fan base. So really looking forward to that.
I don't think you could give anybody any more reason to go, because I fully agree with you. Celebrating our successes as an industry together and looking forward to the future. I'm excited to be there. There's plenty of ways for you guys to go there. Usman, I was excited to sit down with you again. I forgot to even say this at the beginning. We didn't even spend a lot of time talking about you, not because we didn't want to, because we had all this to talk about. If you guys wanted to learn anything more about Usman, listen back to the original show with him to learn about his background and why, this third chapter has such a great steward to lead us into it and to help guide us into the process and really become that next third chapter. So I'm really excited to be a part of the team and to sit down with you again. Hopefully, shouldn't be the last time we sit down for a while.
And thank you for having me, and really enjoyed the discussion. So thank you.
And thank you for tuning in today to geek out for our interview with Usman Shuja. To read all our news stories, learn more about our guests, and to listen to this show, visit thecontentcrew.com. This is the Content Crew signing out. Until next time, enjoy the ride and geek out.